herbs and what they do?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will.
Not a little list really, but I tried to not make it too small.
Thank you.
3 pages, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Ainda não, mas está na lista.
Ela é muito bom.
Eu vou olhar para você.
Does everyone have a list?
Próxima lá fora, prometo.
Actually, I thought we might have a little bit bigger of a table.
You want one more table?
Not, I was thinking of putting everything a little bit more out, but maybe I will do
For
like
people to see in the scale?
Valentina and take some and everybody can hold it and smell it and eat it if they want. Okay, so we don't have to do the laying out of the thing. Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
Does everyone here, or is there anybody here that does not know who Ninovan is and what we do? Everybody knows?
Those
No?
two?
You don't know? You don't know? We are a young association. We created ourselves, I guess, a few years ago and became an official association last year to rescue abused and abandoned horses on Fayal. And a lot of people think, well, on an island, how can you have an abandoned horse? A lot of city people are like, not on our island, it doesn't happen, but if you open your eyes and start walking around and you see, then every year on the caldera, a minimum usually of 7 horses die. People just set them free, they say, and it's usually when they're too old, or some of them have been abused so much they can't work anymore, and the owner doesn't want to kill him and feels like he's doing the horse a good deed by setting him free. So we're trying to stop that and trying to change laws and work with the Camera to get more protection for the animals on the island, the large animals. So that's pretty much who we are, and what we want to do as an association is treat the animals as best as we can and as natural as we can, is kind of comparable to how they might live in nature. All of the animals that live with us no longer work. Some are old, some have been so abused that they kind of wobble like this when they walk because they don't have very much feeling in the back. And since I don't really know very much about horses at all, I've been looking to everybody to try to help me to learn things. My girlfriend Michaela, she's wonderful with horses and has learned also a lot about them, knows how to touch them, but what we've really gotten into are herbs. Using herbs to treat different conditions. A lot of the horses that we have are older. A lot of them don't have teeth, or not enough teeth really. They can't chew hay, and if they can't chew hay, it's bad for them because they have nothing to eat in the winter, or not enough to eat. And what happens then is that a horse will start to chew, and they get these little pouches of stuff in the back, and they spit it out. So we found a way to start feeding these horses so that they don't keep getting skinnier. It's something called pressed hay. We buy it from Germany. It's from a completely natural field that's not been sprayed or anything. The hay is then compressed into these little bitty pellets. We soak it in water, and we feed it especially to 2 of our horses who have a lot of dental problems in the back. They can't eat any hay, so during the night when the other ones are eating hay, they just stand around. And what is horrible for horses is that in their system they need to be able to eat constantly for like 18 hours a day. Because of the digestive system, if they don't have enough to eat, during this time it can cause a colic. the next time that they do get food. So then we started getting into not only that, but also the herbs and treating with herbs. And the very first thing I ever did in treating a horse with herbs was with Jeanette, because she knew that out of her past that malva, this flower here, is basically a wonder drug. Malva is also on your list. I don't even know if all of the things you can do with malva is on the list, but you can put it on open wounds. That's what we used it for to begin with. You can put it together with alcohol and make like a syrup so that you can specifically place it on wounds. We put it in Vaseline to make more of a cream or a paste. So because the horse we were treating had an entire open back, so we covered the back so that it could heal, and you really could notice within a week or 2 weeks that the horse's skin started closing again. It was incredible. And you can also use malva like in the drinking water of the horse, because it also cleans the intestines from worms and parasites and things like that. So it's a wonder drug.
Okay, I'm sorry. Still about malva. Traditional Portuguese use to wash lady parts so that you don't have itches and stuff.
No, yeah. Well, since we're concentrating on horses, I thought I would leave it at that.
I don't know if horses get that kind of stuff on or not. In humans it works. I don't know if horses have lady problems.
Yeah, well, you can, I guess. I don't know either. So through Jeanette, I started getting more and more interested in plants that also grow here and how they can help the horses. And I've talked to my neighbors who have been here forever. They are old neighbors, and they're like, but we used to use this for this and this and this for this and this. And usually the plants that are used for human can also be used for animals. And we found that there are very few plants that humans use that are actually dangerous to the animals. So we've been trying to filter all of that out, but basically most of the things that grow here naturally can be used naturally to treat your animals. They can treat liver diseases, you can treat heart diseases, you can treat kidney problems, wounds, open wounds, you can treat joint pains through different things that grow here. You can work on the digestion, basically everything, I guess, in a way. What we do twice a year is we concoct a mixture of these herbs in order to give like a detoxation of all of the chemicals that they might be taking into their body, because the fields that they're standing on have been poisoned for years and years and years, and so it'll take a long time until the field is really organic. And the foods that they get to eat now, they're getting natural foods. But before, the rasau that they get has so much protein and it has a little bit of artificial stuff mixed in that the horse's body can actually not digest. So a lot of people think when they're feeding their horse a lot of food, rasau in particular, that it's a really good thing and that means that they are really, really loving their horse. But actually, it's making it very difficult for the horse's system to work properly because they're not balancing it out with any other things. It can also cause a lot of problems in the hooves, especially if a horse is very old. And if it gets too much rasau to eat, the protein will go into the hoof and it can cause a very degenerative effect and can kind of, it looks horrible. It looks like the hoof is melting in a way. We don't have any of that here yet, or not with our horses yet, but it's something that can happen. I could just show you guys some of these things. I think that they're really cool and they do smell good and they feel good. Some of them are funny. You can see maybe we could even go in the order of your list.
Kidney?
Pardon?
Kidney?
Kidney? We can start with the kidney, yes? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's Goldenrod.
Yes.
Where did we put the Goldenrod? Actually, I believe, sorry, I forgot the Goldenrod. It's called,
Street flavors today.
for me it's a little bit difficult also because oh no, here we go, this is it. I learned the herbs in German, and then I have to try to translate it into English and then figure out what everything is. And herbs are new for me anyway, so then I'm learning all of these German words and I'm like, ugh. What is it actually? So this is this would also be, this is goldenrod. This is something you could use to support the kidneys. We would probably put in about more or less this much for an average size horse, which would be anywhere between 250 and 350 kilos, the ones that we have. We do have 2 horses, they weigh more or less 500 kilos, but the other ones that we have are, for me, also big enough, but smaller than the really big white Lusitana type horses we also have here on the island. So it's just a really little handful. It goes right into the mixture of the hay cobs that I was telling you about, and the hay cobs are really good in that aspect that it helps to mix all of the herbs together. A lot of the herbs that we give them, they will just eat out of your hand. But in order to, like when we do our detoxation like we're doing now, we have to do it for 3 weeks. We put it in these hay cobs, we mix it all together, and they get that once a day for 3 weeks, and that cleans out all of the system. It cleans the livers, it cleans the kidney, and helps them to completely push out whatever kind of toxins they have on the inside to the outside. And then we wait a week, and then we do another thing that cleans out all of the rest of the system with another concoction of herbs. So we've got 6 weeks basically of herb supplements to get them completely clean, which helps them later to digest the grass and the hay and all of these things, and to get rid of the worms that they have. So the next one is artichoke, which I think is really cool, that horses also eat artichoke. Alcochofre. We know it as, for humans, as a diuretic. It also works as a diuretic for horses as well. It's a little bit...
E o kidney e os rins. A gente vê os rins e agora o kidney.
Also do it like this. Nobody wants to touch it. Alcochofre is something the horses actually really like to eat. So right now we're giving that a lot.
Is that the leaves or the flower, Kim?
These are the leaves of the artichoke. So this is part of the detox that we're giving at this moment to help cleanse their system, the artichoke. Then we have linseed, which is in Portuguese linhaça. You can buy it like this. Linseed is something we give a week before we do any type of detox herbal cure. Call it, huh? Program, cure, whatever thing. The linhaça is wonderful because it first it kind of makes everything a bit slimy, so it helps them to excrement most of the bad things and clear the way in order to have the actual detox work better, work more easily on them. Then we have the marine thistle. I don't know if you guys have seen these here. They're beautiful flowers. They have...
Linacea,
they
linseed,
Do you have any photo of that, Kim? Or do you have it in your bouquet?
I know it. I don't have it as a book. It grows to be about this big,
Whoa.
and they are humongous white and green, big foliage that comes out at the bottom, and out of those come these purple little flowers. Maybe you've seen it. It's a beautiful thing to have in your garden. Since we've been feeding these things to the horses, now they pop up wild in our place, here and there, which is really nice. And that, just to throw in another blurb, is something that we would like to get to, is a naturally grown field. That means we want to have a field that's not just grass, but that's full of herbs as well, like Valentina was talking about, it helps actually to have this in nature, because if a horse, let's say, is completely in the wild, they will tend to go to the things that they need. They eat the bark of the trees, they pick out the plants that they need. If a horse is having stomach problems, it will pick that plant but not another plant, whereas another horse will pick out something else. And since we have a few of these things growing in the garden, we've been watching the horses do that, and especially some of the older ones, they will go like, and they will go right to that one thing, and then,
That's what I need.
so it's wonderful to watch because it actually works, and the horses enjoy it. And a dream would be to have really a field that's mixed, and then on the outskirts of the field only to have herbs, to cover it with like a net or something, so that only the things that come through is what they can eat, and then they can go anytime they want to pick out what they need. That would be so cool. So we're kind of working towards that direction. The next thing we have is Dandelion, which is Dandelion. Everybody knows that, right? Dandelion, the one that you blow.
Yes.
Pusteblumen. It works wonderful. Also for the liver. I mean, there are a lot of liver different types of things, but dandelion is something that grows more plentiful than the marine distel and the marine
What about dosages, Kim? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but are these things that you can use for as long as you want, or when you use them you need to stop?
If you were planning to do something using the herbs that are already prepared, like this, and then you give a small dosage like I was showing you, and it's more or less almost the exact of each thing. Some are a little bit...
you do it just 3 weeks and that's
You do it 3 weeks and stop. If you keep it going, it won't work. If, however, your plants are growing in nature, the horses will know to take it or to leave it.
Oh, okay.
Since we're doing a specific detox, we know we have to do it for 3 weeks in order for everything to get out of the system, because we don't have the plants yet in the garden. But once we have the foliage all the way around, and we watch that the horses actually go to get that, we will no longer have a need for detox. Another reason to do all of this stuff with the herbs is because it prevents the horses from getting sick, like Valentina was saying. The more natural stuff that you take to yourself as a human, the healthier you are, and it's the same with the horses. A lot of people think, they're being fancy and they're paying so much money for the horses, but actually in the end we're saving money because the horses are less sick. And these are already really, really sick horses when they come to us. They come to us like skinny and hurting, and we only give them natural products. They get better, they get stronger, they calm down, they're not afraid anymore. The joint pains, we can reduce the joint pain through a different type of herb. It's just wonderful, I think.
Yes, it is, Kim. Yes, it is.
Do you guys want me to keep going through this, or
Yes.
is that good? Okay.
You have 5 minutes?
If you could talk about the joints, because my dog has arthritis, so
Okay.
I'm really interested in that.
For the joint pain, something that's really good to give them is Weidenrinde. I wrote it down. Let me see, let me see what that is in English. It's...
Anti-inflammatory? Or what?
What's it called in English? No, stinging nettle.
stinging nettle?
No.
No?
It's something. It's churral in churral, the crying tree, willow. Willow.
Yeah, willow.
It's the bark of a willow tree.
Ah.
It
É o
looks.
diz aspirin,
Yeah.
right? Salads.
We used to have a really old donkey who had a lot of problems in her joints.
It's a tree, right?
Churral.
What's making you keep talking?
So the bark of the tree that we have here, the churral, works.
It works.
What you can do is give you can give like small stems to horses. For a dog,
I make tea
Oh,
and he
that's
drinks,
exactly-
not a
Kim, I'm
problem.
sorry. That's why you were planting the shurang
Yes.
2 years ago.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So now we have some from Isabel, and we got some from other people, so we've been starting to plant the churro everywhere in the garden, and if we don't watch out, we won't have any because the horses usually eat it right away. They're like,
Wow, this smells good.
so it's if you make a tea out of it, almost anything that you use, you can put it as a tea or as a salve and, put it on top. But as a tea going internally is even better.
What about doses, Kim?
Pardon?
Doses. It's a 30-kilo dog. How much and how often?
Again, with the dose dog.
Maybe I could just cut a branch and he can chew on it, and that way he eats whatever he wants. No?
If he would chew on it, that would be the best way.
He will. I'll just rub some meat on it.
Okay.
Or peanut butter. He likes that.
If you would chew on it, it would be good because actually the chewing of the stuff gets the saliva and gets it to go into the system much better.
Ah, okay.
So
Okay,
that
so
would be a good solution.
Peanut butter and Willow.
Sandwiches. Okay.
We'll try.
Okay, maybe since there's not so much time, are there any questions or any specific things?
Yeah. What is that plant with the purple flowers and the big leaves? No. Yes.
This here?
Yeah.
I have to look this up in German and English again. it's comfrey. Haha, remember. It's comfrey. Beinwell in German. It's used also actually if you have an animal with joint pain as well, you can actually cook this a little bit and make a wrap around the place that's hurt. You would cook it, make it soft, put it around, and then wrap it up and try to leave it overnight, and it should pull out any type of infection. Or
So it does the same. You can do the same thing with the white cabbage.
yeah, exactly. It's a similar effect. Yeah.
Okay.
Can we, for example, if we have doubts, can the people consult on your page, Facebook page at Ninovan?
If they write, yes. If there are things, since I'm still in the learning process, really, I mean, if there are things I don't know, we have people that we consult with who actually train us that are in Germany. It might be like today that I'm a little bit, it's called like this, but they've been doing this for years. Some of them have been doing it for 10 or 15 or 20 years in Germany, and they've been using it on small animals as well as large animals. Donkeys, as opposed to horses, have a completely different system, and so we have learned that whatever you use for a horse is not automatically good for a donkey. That's something you should really check with if you have donkeys, to make sure that you differentiate between donkey and horse when you're speaking to someone that uses plants for healing. So,
You also
I could keep on talking, but
yes,
you saw.
we have now a presentation about mandala farming inside. So each one can bring the share inside. And Kim brought some t-shirts to crowdfund for her project with horses.
With
So-
t-shirts, or we have just a little box I can use here. If anybody would like to just
I like her.
put something into the little box, that would be great.
Give me a jingling.
Pardon?
Kim, I will not give you money, but I will give you the bulb plants, which grow crazy well and crazy fast,
Awesome.
and are awesome liver detox. And I think your horses will love that. Yes.
You, Tiago.
Where's the
I just take care of that. What are you doing? Monster. It's coming out of the green carteirinha.
Yes, it is.
Good.
The one that has any money, you know?
We actually have
Two girls.
money transporters.
Yeah.
One for my white stuff and one for his medium. We're having a contest to see who can feel it first, him or me. So that's coming out of the green
Kim,
wallet.
can you please open your tablet so I can
Yes.
feel
Hello,
it?
Kim.
Hello, Go.
Going back. Yeah, go a little bit more back.
Do you want to leave the things here and then
For a second.
you can get them later?
Probably not today, but
The herbs you can take them because you need them, but the thing in the t-shirts and the box, they can stay.
yeah, if you have a place and if I could get them tomorrow.
Yes? Of course, just leave it there. Wow, beautiful pictures.
That's what I'm like. That's it. Right?
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Evelyn, hast du auch ein Foto gemacht für meine Seite? Mit dem Schild? Brilliant. Okay, so we'll take this inside.
I got your next poster here.
Is that?
I got Ninovan's next poster.
Ah, nice. I can bring
I'll send it to you
this
tomorrow.
outside. Okay, cool.
Kim.
That stays here. It stays here.
Marigolds.
Ah, awesome.
These are very good antiseptic for any kind of